My name is Andrew Ferguson.
I'm Sophie Salopek.
And we are two members of the Vigil Project team. So we're a Catholic music collective and nonprofit, and we exist to make music for the Catholic Church and the Catholic journey. Music, it's such a funny thing for me because it was like this slow burn until all of a sudden it became like my biggest joy, my true love. Something completely changed. I think I just started like to sit at the piano and to play what was on my heart and not like so much worry about trying to read things off a sheet. And actually what I didn't realize I was doing at that time was like I was praying in a large way. Like I was entering into my relationship with God in and through the gift of like being able to express what was happening in here and being able to respond to like what I was receiving.
I think it's been a way that as like maybe like moments and times in my life where I've struggled to be vulnerable, like music has been like the thing that has opened that pathway for me and allowed me to be vulnerable. I don't think I recognized a lot of those things until college, and I didn't recognize like the gift, like very specific gift to me from the Lord that was.
We just released our most recent work, which is called The Way of the Star. And it's really different, I think, than anything that we have ever done before as the Vigil Project, and then it's certainly different from anything that I have ever done. Essentially, we follow the infancy narrative through all these different key moments and get to like journey together towards the moment of the incarnation, the moment of Christ's birth.
This project kind of came out of like nothing. Like
yeah.
It was not something that like in the past 3 years we've been thinking like, we're going to do this. It was just like the Lord just like put it on our hearts.
I think it's just a really, really cool way to enter into Advent this year. So it's almost like we as Catholics are really familiar with like Stations of the Cross. It's kind of like Stations of the Cross, but applied to the Advent story. So as we're getting into the first week of Advent, we've got a pretty intense gospel to look at, but one that I think is really, really full of beauty and full of actually an exciting invitation. What jumps out to me is there's like two ways to read it, or maybe two ways to respond to it rather, right? Like this is the call to Advent. This is the call to prepare a place in our hearts for the Lord to be born into again, to keep watch, to keep vigil, to actually, anticipate him in a new way in our lives.
For me, specifically being that like we will be entering Advent on a tour and doing this thing within ministry that is a good thing, and that in every day we will be having an event at night that is Advent centered, and we'll be serving and praying with the community and praying with praying through Advent, that I myself am not just that I'm not only using those moments to pray, and that actually like I, Sophie, am taking time separate from just those nights of ministry to actually prepare my own heart. Actually, I'm serving better in those evenings, and that I'm able to serve those people better. And I think, so that I am like staying vigilant in that and not caught by surprise after just kind of getting in a routine of doing something good, and just letting that kind of be enough.
Like, because it's so easy to get caught into like just the the magic of the season. Our whole lives become like soaked in like Christmas anticipation, you know? And so sometimes with that, maybe it's easy to be like, yeah, I'm adventing, I'm preparing myself. But I think it's important that like that hope is something that is a real hope, that is a deep hope, and not just this like either vague joy and anticipation or like vague like, I'm watching them light the new candle every week, like I'm in Advent. But that's like a real anticipation, a real place that our hearts are being prepared for Christ to be like born into.
Personally, for me, one of the anxieties that have like been coming up as like the season of Advent and even like Christmas is coming up, is actually sometimes making the mistake of a little bit what Andrew was talking about, is like looking to Christmas of like, okay, what are all the things that I need to do? It's just like a very busy, very, very busy season with all of like the things coming up in the season that have actually nothing to do with like the prayerfulness of the season and like actually preparing my heart for like what this season of the church is. Like it's actually, I'm like looking to the season of like Christmas and Thanksgiving and like what November and December look like rather than like Advent. I'm like finding myself kind of separating the two. And when I put them together, it's like an added stress sometimes rather than like letting Advent like be the thing that allows like all the things to settle a little bit and actually just like slowly prepare my heart for the beauty of those seasons.
I think that's maybe the part of the anxiety for me sometimes is, did I do enough to know Christ better this year? Like, am I holier enough,
Than last
year? And
Let me gauge my holiness.
yeah, let me gauge my holiness. And man, if I didn't get there, like I really need to start working on it. And sure, maybe there's a sense in which you could spin that. It's like, yeah, there's a real part of that, but instead, like the invitation is like to let Christ draw me forward, to let Christ make me holier. Music, and really just beauty has this way of being able to like kind of slip past all of our other defenses and all of our other struggles and all of our other walls that we have up, because it strikes straight to the heart and there's no like defense against it. There's nothing you can do except but be moved. It allows us to feel and to see and to respond in a way that is like deeper than just saying the word. But then it also does this thing where it allows us to be connected like with one another, kind of as you were speaking earlier about like we're about to get into the insane busyness that inevitably happens every single year, to like keep your eyes on the star, to keep your eyes on Christ. That way, like when the other things come in, it's all within like the proper orientation, the proper framework of like approaching all of them with joy, approaching all of them with a heart that's preparing for Christ to be present in a new way come Christmas.